What is up? Sheepdogs, Ryan here. Another exciting day, living the American dream. Let me know once you guys get on, and I'll give you a big shout out. Looks like there's one person already. Security 29, what's up, man? Yeah, it has been a while. I haven't seen you on here. All right, we got 2 people on Facebook. Tell me who you are. 7 people. Hopefully you guys had a good, what's today, Labor Day? Like, what are we celebrating on Labor Day? Labor? Seems like a very interesting holiday, in my opinion. What's up, Douglas? PG, Cynthia, what's going on, guys? Black Hydra, want a duel. What does that mean? You want to get in a gunfight with me? Might be interesting. Dan, what's up? Lincoln, Steve, what's up? Bill. You know, a bunch of us went out shooting on Sunday. Some guys helped me with a new course, the 99, or not a new course, but updating a course, the 99 live fire shooting drills. Okay, Dustin says, finally not driving. I'm able to watch and not die in a fiery car crash. Yeah, that's important, Dustin. Greg says, how long is the wait for a concealed carry permit? You know, I'd say most people are telling me it's anywhere from like 4 to 8 weeks right now. What's up, Jason? Good to see you, bud. RV Dog in the house. Sean, what's going on? Okay, Mark says, what is your advice on training with only a box of 50 rounds in the ammo drought? Not 100% what that question means. Are you saying going to the gun range and only shooting 50 rounds? I would say that's not enough. It's kind of like trying to learn how to drive, but only driving for 2 minutes and then stopping. It's just not enough time to really demonstrate and practice those fundamentals, in my opinion. But, you know, if you're in that ammo drought, like many of us are, ammo is just too expensive. Dry fire is kind of the key, right? So if you can't, what is that question, Jack? If you can't get to the range, can't spend a bunch of money on ammo, then dry fire is really where it's at. Which today, the new session of the 21-day dry fire challenge is starting. I'm going to be going live on the 21-day dry fire challenge private Facebook group right after this. So it's going to be good. Jack says, here's his comments. He says, do you believe in reincarnation? Not really. I believe in heaven. I believe in Jesus, right? But I don't believe I'm going to come back as like a fork, if that's what you're asking me. Okay. Shell Knight, I think I'm saying your name right. I'm not sure. She said, I'd like to ask Tiffany what her favorite belly band is. I can tell you what it is. It is called the Crossbreed belly band. It is by far the best. It's also one of the most expensive, so just kind of be aware of that. They're about $80, but it is by far the best. And the reason it's the best is many of the cheaper belly bands are just the fabric. So what happens is there's no real rigidity in how the firearm is being held. So, but with the Crossbreed, it's actually inside of a Kydex holster, which is then inside of the band, which is pretty huge, I think. Okay, Alan says, I had to wait 4.5 hours at the police station in Daytona to get my fingerprints. That sucks. Okay. There were only 20 people in front of me. Is this wait time typical? No. So in Tampa, I had one of the employees tell me that they are getting people in and out within 10 minutes. So that's if it takes 4.5 hours, you're dealing with a rookie, an idiot, in my opinion. Okay, Greg says, are your classes booked? Yeah, our classes are booked, but we always have room because we do the online and we can easily just add more classes. So no matter what, Greg, you can attend our online concealed carry course tonight. You can get it done in a little over an hour, and you can literally come in for the live fire portion tomorrow and be on your way to getting your permit before the election. Okay, Ryan, we're built the same, LOL. What's your pick for inside the waistband holster? Joseph, I really love the Tier 1 concealment holsters. And I love the side saddle kind of setup, right? So the spare magazine pouch. Some big brands or some brands of holsters that I really like and enjoy are Tolster, Muddy River Tactical, and even some of the more basic ones, which is like CWA, what is it called? CYA, and there's another one I can't think of at the moment. So you don't have to spend a lot of money, but you do just want the good quality, right? Okay, Diane, what's up? Good to see ya. Joel says, is there a 3-step rule when it comes to having a gun in your vehicle when you don't have your concealed carry permit? No, there has never been a 3-step rule. This is a myth that has been perpetrated by law enforcement officers that just haven't been properly trained on how you can legally have a firearm inside of your vehicle without a concealed weapons permit. I talk about this in depth in my book, Florida Concealed Carry Law. Make sure you pick it up. I also have several YouTube videos about this topic because people ask about it all the time. So definitely check that out. Ann says, would you say the Smith & Wesson EZ9 can be used for home defense? Why and why not? You mentioned on some in your info for the beginner's gun. Yeah, so when you're looking for a good firearm for home defense, here are a couple of things that I think are absolutely critical. First, it needs to be a larger size firearm so that you can have a higher capacity. You also want to have a little bit more control, and the size and weight of the gun is just less of an issue because it's going to be stored in your house, right? You're not carrying it on your body. The second major thing is everybody in the home that might possibly need to use that gun in self-defense needs to be able to operate it. So let's say, I'm an experienced shooter, but let's say Tiffany was not. Tiffany is still very nervous around guns, whatever. That would mean my home defense gun probably needs to be an EZ Shield. So that way I know I could use it confidently, but also Tiffany can pick it up, use it confidently and comfortably, and not get intimidated during a violent attack. You also want to make sure you have night sights on any home defense gun, and you need to have some type of weapon-mounted light, in my opinion, so that you can identify who that bad guy is before you start pumping lead at them. Okay, Nick says, what do I think about the HK-P30 SubCompact? I think they're awesome. I love HK guns. My only issue with some HK guns is the triggers on them sometimes are very heavy, especially in the double action mode. So just kind of know that. Somebody's message got retracted. Okay, Black Hydra. Can I go to school with full body armor? What the hell's that mean? Why would you want to do that, man? And what kind of school are you talking about? Any word on Florida concealed carry wait times? They received mine a month ago. Yeah, most people are telling me they're getting their permit in like 4 to 8 weeks. My buddy Jason just texted me the other day. He said it took him a full 90 days to get his permit. So, we're kind of in a crunch time. Presidential election, people are stressed, rioting, violence. There's definitely a lot of people applying for permits, way more than normal. So it's going to kind of get Leto high. Okay, so Black Hydra, if you're in high school, buddy, and you want to wear body armor to school, that's probably not going to end well. That's probably going to end really bad for you and your parents. So I'm going to highly suggest you don't do anything foolish like that. Okay, so Jonelle Hicks, I think I'm saying that right. My father was robbed at a drive-up ATM in Jacksonville. That sucks. By a guy with a tire iron. He tried to roll up his window and the guy broke it. Could he have shot him? Yeah, many times gun owners and concealed carry permit holders, we automatically go to, if the bad guy does this, then I'm going to pull out my gun and shoot. But we want to think about this situation, right? So you're at a bank, you're sitting in the drive-thru. Most people, when I pull into a drive-thru, my car is still in drive, right? I just have my foot on the brake. If a guy comes up and is trying to rob me with the crowbar, I try to roll the window up and he smashes it. My very first instinct is to floor it, get away from that person. Even if, yes, are we legally allowed to use a gun? In my opinion, the answer is yes. Hey, thanks, little Jimmy. We appreciate you, bud. I'm going to come to your question in 1 second. So are we legally allowed to use a gun in that situation? In my opinion, I think it is legal. But is that the first step that we need to take? I don't think it is. I think the first step is try to floor it and get the hell out of there. And if you can't, and if you really are stuck, and if the gun really is the last ditch option, then you need to pull out the gun and shoot. You have to remember, pulling a gun and shooting somebody is going to change your life dynamically. And do you really want to deal with that? Yeah, so some other people saying Hydra, hit the nail, sticks out, gets hammered. Yeah, okay, I don't know what that means. Okay, without a concealed carry, when storing a gun in your center console of your car, when is it appropriate to take it out and put it in your hand? Would that immediately become open carry? No, open carry is when you have a gun on your body, openly visible to other people. But once the gun is in your hand, that is called in hand, ready to use. So open carry is not a threatening act. You are not threatening people, in my opinion, when the firearm is openly displayed lawfully. But when the gun is in your hand, that is a threatening act. So when are you allowed to do that? You're allowed to have the gun in your hand when you are also legally allowed to shoot and kill that other person. Hey, thanks a lot, Joseph. Just gave $5. I'll come to your question in 1 second, bud. Shut up, man. Asking for his $20 receipt. Okay, so, a lot of gun owners are very lazy. They don't take the time to really memorize and master what those 5 things are. Oh, so what the hell just happened? Happened in Polk County. Happened today, actually. A guy shot somebody in the back several times in an apartment complex. I'm going to film a video about it tomorrow. It'll probably come out on Wednesday. But, Grady Judd said in his statement, as he was kind of talking about the shooting, he said that there's a lot of gun owners that have a massive misconception about what the Florida Stand Your Ground law means. And that's this young individual that just shot and killed this person. He is going to go to prison for murder because this alleged good guy with a gun thought he was doing the right thing with his firearm. And a couple hours later, he found out Florida Stand Your Ground law does not mean what he thought it meant. And now he's going to go to jail. He's going to go to a trial, probably get prosecuted and convicted of manslaughter because he didn't understand the rules. That's his fault. You guys need to learn what those 5 things are that have to happen in the state of Florida before we are legally allowed to use or threaten the use of deadly force with a firearm. And again, I talk about this stuff in my book in great detail, and I break it down in my What Would We Do If videos on YouTube, so make sure you really check those out. Okay, Angel says, what do you think of the Hellcat? I like it. I'd like the Hellcat. Okay, let's see. There was a question I was supposed to go to. Forgot to ask in the class, do's and don'ts of flying with firearm aside from locked in a case and unloaded. Yeah, Joseph, so if you log back into your portal, you're actually going to see 5 additional bonus classes that every student of ours gets when they complete our concealed carry course. One of them is called the Expert's Guide to Traveling and Transporting Firearms. So that course breaks down all of the federal, state, and even international laws that regulate transporting a firearm. So definitely watch that, and it'll go over it in a lot more depth than I have time to right now. Okay. George says, do I have to send the class certificate in the application package? Yes, George. So you have that certificate is the proof that you actually attended my class. Okay, Joseph got it. He chased him back into the apartment. Yeah, so Rami, the shooting that happened in Polk County, the shooter, basically there was a guy on drugs, and he was just freaking out, like half naked, doing stupid, crazy stuff, right? So the shooter kind of followed him around. He shot him once, and then the guy on drugs was kind of like walking away, like the gunshots didn't affect him at all, and he was just kept walking past. And then the bad guy with the gun just shot him in the back several times. And then again, the guy on drugs walked down a flight of stairs and then died in the stairwell. James says, those bonus courses are the best information ever. Awesome. I'm glad you liked it. Let's see. Anthony says the Keltec Sub 2000 for home defense. My thoughts. I wouldn't own or use a sub 2000 for home defense. It lacks a lot of stuff. And I think, it's just not my vibe, right? I think if you're going to go a good home defense option, a good 12 gauge shotgun, a pistol with a weapon mounted light, an AR-15, but I wouldn't really, I don't think I would really trust the Kel-Tec sub 2000 with my life. They seem a little bit cheap to me. How are you currently handling the fingerprint portion of the permit process? We're educating our students on how to do it. So it's part of our application assistance training program where we teach you and show you exactly how to go through that because it's very difficult. Maybe asked before, I've never been on a live chat. With masks being a mandate, are we allowed to wear a mask and carry a gun? Yes, so the whole concept that you're not allowed to have a gun and wear a face mask is wrong. It has never been a law. It's just something that politicians, the media, and people on social media just kept talking about, so people just assumed that it was real. Okay, Alistair, that's a cool name, says, do you think a beginner's course like yours should be mandatory for a concealed carry permit? I took it and could not imagine not taking it along with the concealed carry class. You know, Alistair, I would say I'm not really a big believer that anything should be mandatory because owning and possessing a gun is a constitutional right. It's kind of like saying, now let's look at it, right? We're going to be in a presidential election. People are voting. These votes are going to be changing people's lives. Are most voters very stupid? Probably. I think most people that vote are very dumb and they don't actually go look up information about the politician. Hey, Tiff, can you talk to the kids, please? I think most people are not really researching. They're just voting whether there's a D or whether there's an R. And I think that's very wrong and very foolish. But should we make it mandatory that they have to go attend a course before they're allowed to vote? No, because voting is a constitutional right. Do I highly encourage everybody that wants to be a safe, responsible gun owner to attend in-depth training? Yes. So hopefully that answers your question. Can I lend my guns to a friend to go to the range? Yep. I've let several of my friends borrow guns in the last year because they needed them for different reasons. So yeah, totally legal. As long as, to the best of your knowledge, they are not prohibited from having those firearms legally. Steve says, Glock 19 Gen 5 with a red dot, good for concealed carry. Yeah, that's my everyday carry gun is 19 Gen 5 with a Trijicon SRO, and I absolutely love it. Good to see at least one conservative on the left coast. There's lots of us. We just get our opinions smashed to the ground every time we talk. Okay, RV Dog, can you open carry in your car traveling down the road, going to a campground or going camping? Yeah, technically we can. So the statute says we're allowed to open carry while you are fishing, camping, or hunting, or on your way to go fishing, camping, or hunting. Here's a caveat though, right? So just because we know that that's legal doesn't mean that the police know that that is legal. And do you really want to spend your time? You know, if you're driving down the road and somebody drives by in a truck and sees that you've got a gun openly exposed, are they going to call the police? Probably. And is that police officer going to know that what you're doing is legal? I almost guarantee you they won't. And do you really want to waste your time kind of dealing with that? Okay, so Jeanette says, do you believe it's possible for the government to pass laws that take our constitutional right to bear arms? You know, they are. So it's already happening. So last year, I believe in 2019, there were over 200 new gun control laws in the United States that were passed. In just this last legislative session in the state of Florida, there were over 50 anti-gun bills that were proposed. It seems like none of them really made it through committee, but over 50 were actually proposed. Hey, Tiff, can you come here? So I think that's, it's slow. They're slowly chipping away at our rights. And the scare, you know, one of the things that they're doing to us and how they're winning. Can you give me a little glass of water? I got something stuck in my throat, please. I know. I feel like I'm choking. So one of the ways that they are winning at the moment is they are censoring us. they are making it where we cannot share our opinions about guns, about the Constitution. Like, isn't it really funny that if you share something that's against abortion, you get banned on social media? But if you share something that's pro-abortion, they say nothing about that. I find that to be very hypocritical. So they're doing the same thing with guns, and what's happening is they're controlling the mindset and the narrative of the next, generation growing up. They won't be able to get people like me to vote against it. Are you gonna come sit with me?
I'm just gonna listen here for a few minutes.
But they may be able to get the next generation if we don't raise our kids up properly and teach them the importance of fighting for this, right? Okay, let's see. Freedom lovers are under attack. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely it, right? I mean, we are definitely under attack.
Well, this is a good question from Charles. Can you carry one in the chamber with your Florida CWP?
Yep, so you should,
Are
right?
there states that you can't? That's
I don't know.
illegal?
I don't think so. I've never heard that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you're carrying a gun concealed, you need to have a round in the chamber. Now, maybe in the beginning, I have a video about this on the Tampa Carry YouTube page, but maybe in the very beginning when you're still nervous about carrying a gun, it's okay to not have a round in the chamber as you're getting comfortable. But if you still don't have a round in your... Do you want me to touch you?
Are you trying to get fresh with me here?
If it's a year later and you still don't have a round in the chamber, that's a problem. You need to move on and...
Yes, it's just till you get comfortable. So what kind of water is that? Oh, did you ask for water? It's apple juice.
I did. It's apple juice. Doesn't matter.
Oh, it's apple juice. Wait, did you guys notice that Ryan... Hey, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you. Do you guys notice that Ryan's... well, it's grown back a little bit, but he...
I bought a new... So I had to go to this... I had to go to, like, have drinks with this group that invited me on Thursday. So I wanted to, like, clean up and stuff. I didn't know what to expect. So I bought a new beard trimmer, and I set the setting to what I normally set my old one at. And I went and did my mustache first, and it just shaved the whole thing off. And I was like, oh my gosh, I guess I'm shaving my whole beard right now. So yeah, I looked like a little kid for a couple days, which is pretty funny. Are you allowed to conceal carry while open? Are you allowed to conceal carry while open carrying while fishing? I want to carry a larger frame, larger cal for open carry, just in case their alligator gets aggressive.
You
Yeah.
can open carry or, yeah.
Yeah, so open carrying has nothing to do with your ability to conceal carry, right?
Oh, maybe he's saying if he doesn't have a permit, can he conceal carry?
Right, but to conceal carry, you have to have a valid Florida conceal carry permit.
But you can open carry, no problem,
without a permit.
Because it's open carry, yes.
Yeah.
I hope that.
Thanks, Florida Sheepdog. You shave now?
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
He kind of shaves.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I shave other parts.
You had a beard? Yeah, it wasn't a beard. It was scraggly here.
I know. Tiffany, my sister-in-law, I said, what do you think of my beard? And she goes, you don't have a beard. You have a goatee with some extra hairs.
And then, yeah, I think she said that she could grow a better beard than you, which might be true.
A lot of jokes there.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Carlos says Israeli carry is dangerous. I wouldn't say it's really dangerous. It's just about training. If you're going to, those...
What's Israeli carry?
Where they don't carry with the round in the chamber. So when you present, you have to rack and then extend and shoot, right?
You know what? It all depends on your training.
I think I've seen those IDF guys shoot, and they're pretty badass, right? So they've got it down to...
It's fine if you want to carry like that, but then you better be willing to train and train often so that you have, you're really proficient and have good muscle memory.
Yeah. What's up, Jason?
Hey, Jason.
Okay.
Hey, Joe.
Thanks, Mr. Tix. R.I.P. beard.
Wow. So finally, should I?
What?
I don't want to embarrass you.
You can't embarrass me. It's pretty hard. I pooped my pants one time. Like, pretty hard to embarrass me at this point.
So Ryan calls. The shaver broke, and he calls, and he's like, "Hey, did you order a new shaver yet?" And I said, "No, I'll order one right away." And right now, so I groomed the dogs, and the best shaver that I found was the dog grooming shaver. So that's what Ryan will use, the same one that...
Yeah, why would we buy two sep there? That's the same thing, right?
So Ryan uses the same shaver as the dog groomer. So he says, well, I'm going to go to Walmart and buy a shaver then. And I said, okay, go ahead. And I said, yeah, woof. I said, I'll buy a dog shaver. I said, I think that you've earned your way working this much that you can have your own shaver and you don't have to share with the dogs anymore.
Okay. Okay, Joe says, what are your thoughts on open carry? I think open carry is cool if you're doing it for the right reasons and not just trying to get a bunch of attention. But I think open carry is great. Open carries are right.
Yeah.
And I think it's awesome as long as your goal is not to scare people and cause problems with 15 GoPros strapped to your body. Anna
Paulina.
Okay, so that's a Congress.
Yeah.
Sees fit. Love her pick with the
Sees
dog.
fit for Congress. Love her
Okay.
pick with the dog.
No idea what you're talking about. But I'll look it up.
Yeah, you have to figure out that kind of stuff. You poop your pants when you flipped your car? No, I think he just pooped his pants on a regular day.
It's like when you're whatever. It just
I was
doesn't.
like-
Do we really want to talk about this?
I was probably like a shart.
Yeah, it's it just happens. You're like, oh, you fart, and then you're like, oh crap, I guess I gotta go home, right?
Ryan has no dignity. No dignity left.
Okay. Who's going to Virginia? Is that Florida Sheepdog? Is that, what do they call it? Is that like the day that they do the big open carry or the big like protest in Virginia?
On 1/20/21.
Makes sense. That was about the same timeline as last year, right?
Yeah, I think so. Florida Sheepdog, can you post more information on that, please? You sharded. He sure did.
Lobby Day, that's what it's called.
Why is your mother with you? Are you saying I'm his mother? Whatever.
Yeah.
A little better looking than your mother, but
My mother's, well, whatever.
let's just stay off that
Yeah,
topic.
let's get off the topic. Marcel says, could you give
Do
anyone...
I look that much older than you?
Screw that person.
Oh, Ryan!
So...
He's not. Look.
No, it's typical troll stuff, right? Typical, they just say stupid shit because they want to be rude, and that's just
No,
their,
I don't think
their thing, right?
that was meant.
No, that's what it was.
Really?
Marcel, yes, I like Marcel. Don't like the other person. Marcel, could you give anyone insight on the 223, 556, mags, uppers, what works and what doesn't? I actually have, I haven't done, a bunch of carbine videos. We're going to start doing carbine videos on the Carry University channel. So yeah, I think that PMags are great. 223, 556, you typically want to get a barrel that's 556, which I think most of them are today. It's very rare to find a AR-15 barrel that's only chambered in 223. Very, very rare. But we have a bunch of those videos in the works coming out on the Carry University
Thank you, Brenda.
channel.
She said I don't look old. I'm 40, and Ryan's what, 36? How old are you?
37, I think, yeah.
Are you 37?
I don't know. Good, there's a variation.
You're born in 83, so yeah. Ryan is younger than me, and he does look really, really young without his thing. I love your jammies. I know. Yes, Michelle. I think moms do this like pretty often. They get in their pajamas.
Well, my kids were all like, Dad, why are you still wearing your clothes and a hat? Like, they were all disgusted at me, and I said, Dad has to do a live stream in an hour. And they're like, oh, okay.
What do you normally wear? Just like your pajama pants.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Ryan and I, so I've realized that this is when you start getting old. Like Ryan and I needed a new bed desperately. We haven't bought a bed for 17 years. We bought one when we first got together. We were totally broke. So we bought a used bed off of Craigslist 17 years ago for $100. So Ryan's cougering, I know. So we had to buy a new bed, and we got the adjustable base. And Ryan's like, now we're officially like 80 years old. We have the
where your legs and head are up and stuff. It's whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, Ryan's cougering. That's pretty funny. Joe, keep up the good work, brother. Thanks for being engaged in your audience. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate you, bud.
Yes, use a pen for the application, for the concealed carry application. Use a pen.
I'm pretty sure that's a requirement.
Broadcast.
Oh, Marcel. So maybe it's cutting in and out. The internet's not doing good. Any other questions? Okay, Best M says, best first gun. I was thinking of Glock 19.
Glock 19 is cool.
I think Glock 19 would be a great first gun. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, if you're a new concealed carrier, though, a lot of people find that the Glock 19 is kind of thick because it is a double stack. And then by the time you put the ammo in it, it adds a lot of weight.
I don't think he's asking concealed carry, though. I think the person's asking just a first gun in general.
Oh, first gun in general? So cool.
Yeah, I think the Glock 19, the Springfield XD, a Springfield XDM, most of the HK guns. You know, I'm just a big believer in buying the quality. So the good Smith & Wessons. I'm not a Taurus person, but I would say a Smith & Wesson M&P, something like that. I would avoid Taurus.
But if you're a new, if you're going to be a new concealed carrier, it's usually easier to do that single stack. So an XDS, a Shield, Glock 43.
Yeah.
Because going from carrying nothing.
Holy
oh my
shit.
gosh! Hey, Dustin.
I haven't seen you in a long time, man.
Hey, what? Yeah, you've been
For putting your extreme bravery for putting your shart out there.
Mad props. You know what? For anybody that knows Ryan really does, like, even like things in our marriage, stuff like that. He just puts it out there, and he's like, a lot of things a lot of guys would like not want to admit that they, you know, said or did, but you're pretty good about that.
Yeah.
Somebody just said, wow, $100 shart.
Man.
Yeah, it was kind of worth it.
Yeah.
I didn't even wash those underwear. I just threw those babies out. I'm cheap, but sometimes it's just throw it in the trash.
Okay, Charles says, what do you think about the Beretta PX4 Storm subcompact? Okay, I think the PX4 Storm is a cool gun. Did I spit on you again?
No,
Okay.
it's so thick.
That's what she said. I think
really
the Beretta,
is.
I think it's a thick gun. What I don't like about the PX4 Storm for concealed carry is how sharp the safety is.
And it's ambi too.
Right.
It's got a lot of stuff sticking out all over the sides, and it's thick, like thick.
Yeah.
That's like one of the thickest guns.
Right. It's pretty
In my
thick.
opinion.
So I would say the safety is my issue because I carry every single day, and I know my gun annoys me sometimes, but that safety on that PX4 Storm has got to just like dig into your body.
Yeah. Cool gun, rotating barrel, right?
Not on the subcompact, on the other ones it rotates.
Okay, gotcha. So somebody just asked this question. They said, can I have a loaded pistol in my car without a concealed carry? Yes, you can, and then go ahead with the guideline.
Okay, so to have a firearm in your car without a concealed carry permit, the gun has to meet the definition of securely encased, or not readily accessible for immediate use, but it does not have to be both. Yeah. So securely encased means a gun could be inside of the center console, glove box, zippered bag, hard gun case, or snapped in a gun holster.
The shart heard around the world.
If you could not have the gun inside of a case for some reason, let's say you've got an AR-15 that you just don't have a case for, the gun just has to be not in your readily accessible, which means you cannot gain access to the gun as fast as if it was on your body. So it couldn't be like in your lap as you were driving. In my opinion, behind the driver's seat would be okay. I don't think that's readily accessible, but a police officer may disagree.
Yeah.
So use judgment.
Yeah, use judgment. Oh, I don't have any makeup on. I forgot.
Bob says, what do you think is longest barrel for concealed carry? You know, my Glock 19, I don't know what the length is on that. It's probably like a 4-inch barrel.
Yeah, it's definitely not a 5, so it's probably a 4.
Yeah, but the Glock 17 is too long for me and my body type. Because
it all depends on where you
position
carry.
too.
Yeah, Ryan carries appendix, right? Mm-hmm. So that would probably jab down into your thigh. So yeah, definitely not a 5. Yeah, I think a 5, which would be a 1911, right?
A full-size 1911,
yeah. Full-size
It's just too much. It would stab you in the leg.
There are people that carry them, full-size 1911.
I think you could get away with it at the 4 o'clock position, but appendix, it seems too much.
Just don't think they're the most comfy. When do we think the Department of Agriculture is going to open? I would not wait for the Department of Agriculture. I would mail in your application because they keep pushing back the dates. And then what happens is when they do reopen, they're 3 to 4 months out. So why bother? Just mail your application in and you'll have your permit in the mail back before they even open. So
okay, Alex says that he is building his very first AR-15. Cool. Congratulations. What do I think about Anderson manufacturer lower and upper receivers? Anderson is great. You know, they're super inexpensive, which is great. And they use 70-75 aircraft grade aluminum, which is a standard. Yeah. So they're great. You know, it's about understanding what the proper materials are for an AR-15. Mm-hmm. it's not about the cost, right? So you can buy
There's
you can buy a Spikes tactical lower receiver, which has the cool engraving on it, right?
Yeah.
What did we sell those for before?
like $120, 119.
Okay, so that's not even bad. But I remember we used to sell
No, but-
Anderson lowers, which is the
For like
exact same.
$40.
Yes.
So basically, there's only a few companies that are going to be building those lowers
That
and
actually manufacture.
them, and then you just get your name on them. Like we used to actually manufacture
Our
own lowers, Link 7 machine, and we would just buy them and have our name stamped on it. So you're not, as long as you're going with the right materials, they're all the same. It's just people get picky with the little picture. They want something cool on there, and that's what you're going to pay for.
Sure. Okay, OG says, what's the best place to get engraving done on gun parts? I'm not sure if they're still doing it, but I used to have a lot of stuff engraved by ADAC. So ADAC in Tampa, right off of Kennedy. Chris, I'm sure he still works there. If you go to ADAC's website, it'll tell you whether. So ADEQ, and check them out.
Yeah, so you need fingerprints. You don't need fingerprints when renewing your concealed weapons permit if you renew it before it actually lapses. So if you're 6 months prior and you still, or even 4 to 5 months prior, if you have not gotten a letter in the mail from the Department of Agriculture, call them and ask them for your renewal number, and then you can just renew it online for like $42.
Yeah, so somebody... Okay, so is that Geneva?
Geneva,
okay.
I think.
What is your opinion on purse carry for women? Geneva, I am not a very big fan of purse carry or off-body carry in general by men or women because I think it is slower. And the major challenge is, as a woman, you probably have your purse with you most of the time, but you also probably set your purse down in a shopping cart, walk away to go pick up something off a shelf. You probably set your purse down at work and then go, do whatever. And in my opinion, if there's going to be a gun in there, you have to maintain control of that firearm 100% of the time. And leaving that gun laying around, it just creates an opportunity for a child, somebody else to gain access to it and potentially hurt themselves. And that's going to be hard for you.
Definitely, too, I think it makes a bigger difference if you have children or not.
Sure.
So
I get, makes
with
sense.
children, I don't think I would ever purse carry again. I used to do it. Ryan's told the story. My son threw up in the car. He had car sickness. And, I came in the house, chucked the purse down, put him in the tub, was washing him up, all full of puke. And then I realized after I was finished that I had put my purse on the ground with my firearm, and I still have 2 other small children. And just not cool. So there's too many chances for something to kind of happen. When it's on your body, there's no way you're going to forget it somewhere. So.
Okay, Carlos has got a really fun question. We're going to ask Tiffany this question.
No!
Would you ever own a gun store again, and why? Why, Tiffany?
Okay. No, I wouldn't own a gun store because
no one makes money at a gun store, first of all.
No, that's not true. It's not that you don't make money. It's just with the internet and stuff. I mean, it's just very difficult. Not only that, you have to be there all the time. So you don't make enough money to pay people to be there for you, full-time employees. So then you have to be there, and it's, 6 or 7 days a week. You're always there. You're making small margins, and even smaller because there's like more FFLs, home FFLs, online FFLs, and it's just not worth it. It's just not worth the amount of time and effort that you put into it. Plus the long days, you're being tied to it, can't go on family vacations, stuff like that.
What people don't understand is that to be in the firearms industry, you have to be heavily capitalized, which means you have to have a tremendous amount of money.
So that you can order 100 Glocks.
Pallets.
500 Glocks at a time so that you can...
Hold on, let me finish my thought here.
Okay.
The big companies, what you guys don't know as just a consumer, right, unless you've seen behind the curtain, is that the big companies, the only way that they can get margins that are big enough is if they also create a wholesale company. So like Shoot Straight. Shoot Straight is the retailer, and their margins are razor thin, just like mine were. So their only solution was, we're going to create the wholesaling company, which I think is called Shooting Sports or Sport. No, that's not it.
No.
I forget what the name is. Sports Inc. or something like that. But they're a, what is it called?
Hell
a buying
yeah,
group.
Hush Woman. Really? Because you did that. Don't freaking do that.
Yeah, my tooth is chipped because I mouthed off to her one time. So
This is true.
yeah. Don't say stupid stuff. What's up, Don? Thanks,
you,
Don.
Don.
We appreciate you, bud.
Don took a private,
Oh, did he?
or a private range with you too. Yeah.
Okay. So, Shoot Straight owns the wholesaler also, which means they're making the 15 to 20% margin on the retail side, and then they're making the 20% to 30% margin on the wholesale side. Nobody else can compete with that. And then because they own the buying group, they also won't let people like me into the buying group because they don't want anybody that's in their market. Does that make sense?
So anyway,
it's very
bottom
complex,
line is, it's hard to make money. And, places like Amazon and stuff where you can just, people come in, they try a holster, and then they go order it on Amazon.
What's funny, people used to come in all the time, and I do it too now because I just have given up, right? But they come in and they are looking, they test their gun into the holster, and then they scan it on the Amazon app, and then they buy it for $10 off, and they want to use me to ask all the questions, but then they're just going to go buy it on Amazon or the cheaper websites.
Yeah, love my SIG 238. Yeah, that's a nice gun. Need to get comfortable carrying it. Absolutely.
Yep.
Just start carrying it around the house. The biggest thing when you start carrying is you feel like everybody can see your gun.
Right.
That's not true. It's like when you buy a brand new car, you're driving down the street and you're looking at everybody.
Everybody's looking at
thinking
me.
everybody's looking at you, but yet not
Nobody
one
cares.
person has noticed.
Yeah.
They're all just driving.
Okay, so a bunch of random numbers and letters says, how about Shooter's World? So Shooter's World is owned by very high net worth people.
And it's a group, so then...
There's like 5 of them.
So that way, it's spread. We're just saying like mom and pop wise, it's just very hard because you don't have employees. Or
Shooter's World spent millions of dollars just on their air conditioning system.
No. You guys.
So you got to think a new
trouble.
person getting in. If you don't have a lot of capital, you're going against really big dogs that don't need this income, right? So the people that own Shooter's World are surgeons. One of them is a guy that owns a bunch of Ford dealerships. I mean, these are very wealthy individuals that don't need any money from Shooter's World. If they have a couple bad years, they can handle it.
Yeah. So anyway, this guy's like posting this vote Paulina. Vote on Paulina. I guess you guys have to check that out. I'm hoping that
whatever.
she's pro 2A. And that's why you're posting her. You've heard about Andercorp and Winter Garden. How are
Never
their
heard of them.
weapons? Yeah.
There's lots of AR manufacturers. Like most people don't make their own stuff.
So it took me about 4 weeks to start getting comfortable carrying my 9. Now it's not a big deal. Exactly.
Cool.
In the beginning, it takes everybody a little bit, and that's okay. Like Ryan's video, because there's lots of people that say, should I, or is it okay if I don't carry one in the chamber? In the beginning, this is a brand new thing for you, and that's okay to carry it around the house and get used to it. But what you don't want is to never progress. You want to be progressing into carrying one in the chamber. So continue on your training until you feel comfortable. I try to buy from local guys. The selection is the problem. Yes, I agree.
True.
Because
Yeah.
it's hard to stop. That's the other thing. There's so many dealers and there's so many different products. You have to pick and choose with the stock, and then it doesn't sell. So we understand, but where you can, support your local people, that's best. New to your site. Thanks for the info. Awesome, Charles. We're happy to have you on. Okay, a couple more questions and then we're out of time.
Okay, so can you conceal carry at a rec ball game or travel games at parks? I know you can at professional and school games. Yeah. So the statute, let me think, if I can remember this for a second. It says you cannot carry at any school. What does it say?
Get your book.
Yeah. Okay, take another question while I look this up. real
Okay,
quick.
sure. Maybe we could sell stickies to glue in the side of a receiver as a cheap alternative to engraved logos. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so the statute says you cannot carry at any school, college, or professional athletic event not related to firearms. So as long as it's not a school, as long as it's not a professional or a college, then you can have a gun there.
But most of them are on school property.
Well, again, so on
That's
a
what I'm
school,
saying, like,
related to a school.
Yeah, lots of them are. But also, you can get a copy of Ryan's book. It's only $20, and then anytime something like that comes up, you can whip it out and take a look, and you at least...
One of my favorite things to do, by the way.
Shush. It's getting late. I work with Dan. Oh, Joe, he's awesome. And I feel you have been a huge impact on his concealed carry life. Yes, I feel so safer knowing he is taking your course. Awesome, absolutely. I was actually just going to mention that because Dan just did the 21-day dry fire challenge, and it starts off with 21 days, and that's going to be where where you start and you do those. But it doesn't stop there because training never stops. You have to continue it. But that's the great thing about this course is then you can start from the beginning again and you can go through those drills. We just started the 21-day dry fire challenge today.
Yep, today's day number 1.
And so nobody has posted yet. So if you're thinking about doing it, we're raising the price right away. Right now it's $29. It's going up to $50. $40. It's going up to $50 right away. So I would say take advantage of it. And what it is, Ryan, why don't you just explain really quick just what the
dry fire is,
what the dry fire challenge and why should someone do it, and is it okay for beginners to do it?
Yeah, so the purpose of dry fire is for you to be able to practice advanced shooting skills while reducing the risks associated with those advanced drills. You know, a woman said to me in the class the other day, she said, "Hey Ryan, I really want to take an advanced shooting class and I want to learn how to shoot while I'm running and be able to shoot out of my car and pull my gun out and shoot."
This chick is badass.
But I said, okay, that's fine. I teach classes like that. But I said, tell me about your experience with shooting. And she said, well, I'm brand new. I've only shot a gun once. And I said, well, ma'am, you're not ready for this. Yeah. You're going to shoot yourself. You're going to shoot somebody else.
Just like you don't when you have your learner's permit, you don't go straight onto the freeway. Or
driving a Ferrari.
Town. Yeah.
Because you're not ready for it. It's about building the foundation. And as your skills progress and you start learning how this stuff works and you can demonstrate it safely, then you can start doing it with a live gun. So Dan, Dan took the 21-day dry fire challenge and he's a rock star. He does it all the time. But on Sunday, him and I went shooting. And this was the first time he had actually pulled the gun with a live gun and shot at the target, which was a big deal, right?
Yeah.
So because you've got to do the work in a controlled environment before you go out and try to do it with a live gun. The people that try to skip that stage are the people that end up shooting themselves.
They shoot themselves because they haven't practiced without first. So it takes away, what's your line that you always say, the risk versus the...
Right, so it eliminates the risk and it gives you all the reward.
Okay, so anyway, beginners can do it. Anybody can do it. We also have a private Facebook group that you get to post your video in, or you can if you're not comfortable posting your videos, I say do it because then Ryan can say, "Oh, move your finger." He'll comment, move your finger up, or you need to do this, or hey, great job.
Here's the thing. So I'm a student of advanced learning or accelerated learning techniques, and one of the things that every author talks about when we discuss accelerated learning is fast feedback loops. So if Tiffany's trying to learn a new skill, right, and she's just learning it at home, and nobody's actually watching her and saying like, hey, Tiffany, you keep practicing this thing, but you're actually practicing it wrong. If nobody's telling her, and maybe it takes 2 months for her to figure out she's doing it wrong, she just wasted 2 months of time and effort. A fast feedback loop means you learn a skill, you demonstrate the skill, you let somebody who is highly educated in the skill watch you and say you're either doing it right or you're doing it wrong. So that way continue practicing that skill, or you've got to change what you're doing.
So anyway, you get that professional feedback from Ryan, who goes on every day and will give you that professional feedback on, if you're doing it right or what to change. And then you're just going to be able to, you're going to learn to draw from your weapon or from your holster, all things that you can't really do at the range anyway. So it's a super helpful group. And like I said, it's only $29. And then you need a couple supplies to go along with it. But it's going to go up to $50 like in the next round or two. So anyway, if you want to do that, you just
Bob says, what other items?
Wait, let me just tell him.
Okay, go quick.
It's carryuniversity.com.
Okay. Bob says, what other items besides a gun can you carry with your concealed carry permit? So you're allowed to carry a firearm, a knife, a billy, an electronic device, or a chemical spray. So those are the only items that you're allowed to actually carry concealed in the state of Florida.
And Mark, yes, we are working on that. That's what we're doing right now. Ryan and I are working day and night. There's not enough hours in the day. He asked
on what?
Carry University National. So
Yes.
we are working on that tirelessly.
Yeah, it's like never ending.
Never ending, but it's
Yeah.
gonna happen soon. So
It's happening. By the end of the year, it'll all be done, hopefully. Okay, I think that's it, guys.
that's it, guys.
Thanks for watching. We appreciate you.
Hey, thank you to everybody who gave. Of course, big thank you to Dustin. I wish I could go back and see those people, but we see them and we can always go back in the feed, and we do. So we appreciate, Ryan and I really appreciate everybody who supports us. I know Florida Sheepdog is always on there giving a couple bucks. So we really do appreciate it, though. I just want you to know that from the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate you.
We don't like you, but we appreciate you.
And to all you who come on here, hey Russ, and watch us on live, that's what makes us keep coming back to do that. We just want to try to help everybody and educate everybody and get more people out there carrying responsibly, exercising their Second Amendment rights. So, love you guys.
Okay,
Stay safe. Have a good night.